was a typo, and I'm like, I keep forgetting to do that. Welcome on to Capes. I'm Jared, and guys will be showing up, but we are talking about DC versus Marvel events, because oh boy. All right, so here's the thing about Marvel. Because, all right, Marvel has a problem when they do comic events. And what I mean by that is every single book has to tie into an event, or they really don't factor into like really anything in the overall story. It's like a lot of the times DC events, to start off, just seem to have a lot more weight than Marvel events do. And I'm like, yeah, that's the problem with Marvel. I mean, look at like One World Under Doom. The premise of that event is Doctor Doom takes over the world. Okay. You would expect that would be a pretty big deal, right? Guess what's not referenced really in any of the other books? That's right. Doom taking over the world. It's like a footnote when realistically you should reference it. When I was reading it, because I was reading like, let's see, I was reading Iron Man, the Insurgent Iron Man, that barely tied in, and then you have like Avengers, which barely tied in. There's the problem that Marvel keeps getting is that either not enough ties in, or like that like it gets referenced, or too little. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? What am I reading here? And then Cameron says, I have to agree. It's unless it's Spider-Verse, even I don't read that anymore. They're not getting me hooked. Yeah. It's like the thing about Marvel is that they keep doing these events that just sputter out and then are forgotten. The number one event that is the most remembered of Marvel, guess what? It's called Civil War. Civil War 1. And that's the thing, because it's like, guys, how long ago was Civil War? All right, so let's do this. I'm going to look this up. Marvel Civil War came out in 2006. 20 freaking years ago. That's the thing. That's the last Marvel event that had any significant effect on the Marvel universe. Because when you look at like the other ones, there's barely anything there. I'm looking at this and I'm like, the hell is going on here? Whereas opposed with DC, you feel the effects of like their events down the line. Like you felt Dark Crisis had the effect of the Justice League being disbanded, and that lasted for a while. Then you had Absolute Power, which had the effect of basically reestablishing the Justice League and bringing back the Absolute Universe. So as you go down the line of events, there's like, and by the way, NJ, that's Civil War 2. But yes, I agree with you on that one. But yeah, but when you look at it, it's like there's not that much like stuff there. Like I'm sorry, it's like that's where like Civil War really falls apart. But when you have like even with yeah, so it's like you feel the effects going on. You're probably going to feel the like effects of DCKO, because that's going to be setting up the big main universe / absolute crossover. But it's like what that's going to lead to. It's like, look, it's like that's how you build up what's called like audience, like what's the word? It's more like audience investment. That's what it is, because you want like the audience to be invested in the story. But if it's not going to like really affect that much, what is going on there? Like, how does that work? And Robert's here, so let me add his intro. He's the one.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So, Robbie, you didn't miss much. So, what I was talking about was the fact that when you before we talk about the sheer quantity of tie-ins, there's something I want to talk about here. When you look at DC and Marvel, DC has the events that have the most like effects down the line. Like if you look at like Dark Crisis led to like the dissolution of the Justice League, which lasted for many years, longer than it really should have when you think about it. And then it's like absolute power, the establishment of the absolute universe.
Yep.
So it's like with Marvel, short of Civil War, they really, it's like the events happen and everyone forgets it ever happened.
AVX was the last major, but that was more reversing what came before.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, it's like that. That's the either Marvel posts like meh events, or it's like they're just gotten away with soon. Maybe Civil War 2, but then we get to the big problem that Marvel has more than DC. DC sometimes does this.
Yeah, I'll show. Let me show what's the word? Base amount is. Okay, here's my Hulk omnibus.
My God.
Almost 60 issues.
Hang on. Wow.
Almost 60 issues. This is going to be the baseline.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
Let's go for a smaller one.
Yeah.
Absolute Carnage.
That's pretty fair.
Pretty small. A small amount, but see, look how tiny this is.
Yeah.
Now, King in Black.
Holy moly!
Look, I'm trying to hold it, dude.
Wow. That's got about as much as like
yeah.
Oh, now here's the thing. Here's the omnibus for Heroes Reborn. It's not that much. But I'm just like, what in the name of what is going on? It's like, how is it tying in that much?
Yeah, and then you have King in Black.
Oh, you mean War of the Realms?
War of the Realms.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Thor event?
Yep.
Yeah. The thing about it is that for some reason with Marvel, they tie in literally every, you know what I think it is? I think it is because they know that like a lot of their books don't sell well, so they're trying to like boost those sales, which I get it, but it doesn't make sense for the story like that Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur are fighting against Null.
Just a sec, my phone's going. I'll be right back. I'm just
no problem. It's also the other problem, guys. It's when what's the word? It's when also like, and this is the problem with the way the Marvel universe is set up, where everyone's in New York. It's very hard to tell like these, because here's the thing about DC. DC, because all the heroes live in like separate cities, separate ostensibly United States. You can have big events that take place. You can have a Justice League event in DC. I mean, Washington, DC. You can have a Wonder Woman event like in Boston or such, and like have all these different characters show up. They're kind of are, Tevia. They're kind of some heroes are like separate cities. It's mostly New York and California, because it's like Avengers West Coast is the book, but most of the heroes are in New York, and I get it. It's because the world outside your window, and they want like, and it's like what the writers know. I get that, but it's just, again, it gets to the problem where it's like, if you're gonna put all of your heroes in one spot, it gets to the problem where
I'm back.
Yeah, I was talking about how like with all the heroes being in New York, which I get it. The problem is it's like it makes it makes it kind of hard on Marvel, which I get it because it's like if you're going to publish a Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur book.
Here's the other reason why. Because Marvel knows they're number one. People are going to buy it no matter what.
Yeah, the Marvel Zombies.
That is what the Marvel Zombies will buy it no matter what. Even if they're not buying the books, they'll buy the tie-in events.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, here's the other issue. Now, here's the Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, because personally for me, if there are it's because most of them are most of the writers are in New York City.
No, all of them are in LA these days.
Well, that's where you also get like Avengers West Coast and such. So it's like that's what I said earlier when you were away, Robert. Is that with New York, with Marvel, it's mostly New York and California. They don't do Florida, but But it's like the other thing is like I would excuse them having like a bunch of other like tie-ins and stuff if they did not hide very important plot information in the most innocuous tie-ins, right? Like, what is going on here?
Yep.
But it's like if you look at like now.
The only other place the only place in DC that would have issue with that is Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Where are Gotham Metropolis located? Gotham is, I think, Chicago. I want to say
it goes between that or Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It vacillates, NJ, but it's like. But it's like regardless, it's less of a thing with Marvel because it's not like Batman and Superman are all in one like geographic location, one city. No, it's like they're separated enough that you can do events. Plus, you could do events like, let's say, House of Brainiac. Now, what House of Brainiac did really well is like. You may be wondering, what was Wonder Woman or Batman doing during the Brainiac invasion? A panel just shows them fighting Brainiac drones. That's all you need.
Yep, exactly. That's all you need. And again, and let's put it this way. You got the wiki article about what DC event, Marvel and DC events? And first of all, they're the small one, but Identity Crisis, Cameron. You're thinking of Identity.
Yeah, that's not really well, could that qualify as an event?
No.
Yeah, I was about to say
that would not count as an event
because it's like an event is like a book that ostensibly really shakes up the like status quo.
I mean, it did kind of get the ball rolling on stuff, yes, but it's up. I'm one of those. If you like an event for importance, yes. But for tie-ins and everything, no, none.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah. Identity Crisis. It's all good, dude. We confuse them all the time.
Hold on, let me get the DC events also loaded up because DC's had because let's look at it this way. Marvel has had so many good events. You know what I mean? That stood up. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, exactly. Should we count Convergence?
Yes. Convergence should count because that was still that had tie-ins and everything, and it did gave you John.
Yeah, I know why Tevia wants to count that as a big event.
But they did also try to redefine the multiverse for a bit.
Yeah, so I'm like, you could count that most likely, I would say.
Exactly.
But yeah, yes, Forever Evil does count. That is definitely an event.
Forever Evil is definitely an event.
If it gets its own like big trade or omnibus, it's an event.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, because Forever Evil had like tie-ins with Aquaman and Wonder Woman and such, so they had events there. They had,
exactly. Even War of the Gods counts from Wonder Woman.
Yeah, because again, the minute you have like a lot of tie-ins outside of the Stars book, like outside of Wonder Woman, I think it counts as an event.
Now the 90s, back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, they would have events that were actually like chapters, each time with a chapter, unless you were required.
Yeah, exactly.
To read them. Future then, yep. That would count, yeah, because you had a maxi series counts.
Yeah, exactly. As long as it like affects a large portion of the line, which
even when they had like a whole week.
Future's End definitely did. But
Future's End, Future State, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that took up 2 months.
Yeah, but the issue continues on. It's like, but when you get to like Marvel or when you get to DC again, the events are yes, sometimes Marvel dabbles in the and by Death in the Family is more of a storyline. I don't think that's really an event.
Nope.
You can't stitch that. But Robert, in terms of like sometimes DC does like dabble
sometimes like Gossamore.
No, but I mean in putting like important plot points in a tie-in.
They are just as
rarely. I would say rarely does DC do it as bad as Marvel does.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. But it's like, going back to that, it's like when you look at like the most recent events that DC did, I would argue, Gotham War is the weakest event I think they've done in like a while.
But that and mixed with War for Earth 3.
Yeah, and then follow closely. Here's the thing. Night Terrors, because it occurred at the wrong time.
Night Terrors, because that derailed so much. Something tells me they only did that because they needed the 2 months.
Yeah, because
I think part of it was for like Flash and Wonder Woman to give them time, but I think it was for other things as well.
Yeah, but and the problem with that, which you ended up doing, is that when you look at like Dawn of DC, it was trending in a good direction, and then then Night Terrors happened, stops all the storylines, and then it like fell apart hard. So I'm like, yeah, guys, maybe you shouldn't introduce your good stories right there. So it's like, nah. But it's like, so
Death of the Family, no, that's a Bat Family crossover. That is a Bat Family crossover.
Crossover is not.
Oh no, they can count as events, but they're not. We're not talking about those right now.
No, but what I was going to say is that all events are crossovers, but not all crossovers are events. If that makes sense.
Exactly, and then some events are crossovers. Yes.
Yeah, like let's say I would still say House of Brainiac kind of counts because it crossed over all the things and across over all the Superman books, and they showed it affecting the overall DC universe. Which that's the thing with DC when they give tie-ins and stuff, it's stuff that logically makes sense. Where it's like where'd you place Amazon's Attack, War Over 3, and Endless Winter?
Okay, Amazon's Attack bottom,
War
Over 3 standard.
And then Endless Winter. I haven't read War for Earth.
Endless Winter. That was also one that was needed for
time.
you know what I mean, right? That was needed for what's the word I'm looking for? The fill in time.
Yeah, which is hilarious because you can definitely tell that they abandoned the whole Wonder Woman's dying plot line in there because that was supposed to be with 5G, and then Wonder Woman's alive in Endless Winter, which takes place after Death Metal. So I'm like, yeah, that's hilarious. I love that. But it's like overall, and that's the thing with DC. It's like then we get to One World Under Doom. Oh my god. So here's, again, as I talked about in the beginning of the stream, here's the problem with One World Under Doom. No one that realistically should mentions it. So I'm like, and by Tevia, they're both events. Dark Knight's
they're all events,
and Death Metal are events. We moved on from that. But it's like, when you get to like, where was I? Oh yeah, it's like, yeah. Where was I? I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought.
No, I know. Where would you play? Both those. Well, yeah, those events, they have crossovers and everything.
Yeah. In terms of like, oh man, I lost what I was trying to say.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh yeah, because at least with DC, when they have tie-ins, it's the books that realistically should tie in.
Exactly. Like, okay, let's look back at Marvel for a second when they had some of the tie-ins. For example, Civil War II. Jessica, Spider-Woman, good friends with Carol Danvers. Of course, they get a
Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel. She adores her.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Iron Man, of course, but it's like, look, when an event like Civil War II has like 54 tie-ins.
Yep.
That's excessive right now, because I'm like, it's not like because the Civil War I, you could justify having that many tie-ins, because guess what? It's affecting literally the entire nation because of its legislation that's like the central crux of the issue. Whereas in Civil War II, it's a small group of people duking it out. It's not like they passed another registration act.
And again, Civil War I's and II's tie-in was way outseated the first one and the first ones.
Yeah. Movie Theater says Marvel has events, but the characters do not need to be there, and ones that
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Also, what happened to Marvel Comics 2 is Doom affecting. Well, they're kind of undoing it, because it's like I think that they're either ending One World of Doom or they just ended it. But the point is, when you're reading Marvel books like Avengers and Iron Man stuff, you would never know Doom took over the world.
Right.
There's not even Iron Man a little bit, because his Insurgent Iron Man, he's fighting against Doom, but Avengers, nothing. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? It's like, why should I? It's like, if you're going to do these, because if Doom takes over the world, literally everyone has to affect
all this was just a fallout from Blood Hunt.
Exactly. And then Blood Hunt, that was a forgettable.
That was a who am I looking for? Blade. And even then, that completely disregarded what was done in the Blade series. Yeah,
exactly. But I'm like, but it's like that's the issue I'm talking about here. But when you again get to, like, let's say DC events, like, at least let's take Absolute Power.
Yep.
Literally, everyone
they were building up to Absolute Power.
Not only that, everyone had to be affected by that, because it's the entire country, like, that's like outlawed being a superhero.
And yet, we still never had what am I looking for? Oh, right. We didn't have all the tie-ins. We had minis. Yeah.
And by the way, NJ, here's the interesting thing about We Are Yesterday.
Kind of an event.
Here's the thing. Let's say it is an event. Here's the genius thing Wade did. You only have to read 2 books, World's Finest and Justice League. But since he's tying in Justice League, he can say how it affects the larger DC characters.
Exactly, and it did.
It's a shortcut. That's the genius thing, because then you can say how it affects the other characters without saying, okay, Tom King, you then now have to stop your story, even though we would all love that, in order to, what's Wonder Woman doing when she meets George Perez Wonder Woman?
Exactly. And as we already know, I know from King that guy derailed a lot of his stuff.
Well, yeah, I bet. But because it's like, you can't necessarily talk about, like, let's say like Mouse Man, while Wonder Woman is like fighting time.
Let's not go there.
Well,
but yeah, We Are Yesterday, that counts as a crossover event.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, But it's like that's the thing when you look at DC's track record, and that's an interesting thing that Robert and I were talking about earlier today. When you look at like well-known comic book stories, Marvel has some. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, but
quantity-wise, DC has them beat.
Oh yeah, quality-wise
and quantity, as a matter of fact, in terms of like, when you think of comic books, you think of like Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns. I can name a bunch more. Blackest Night, All-Star Superman. But it's like when you look at like overall comic book stories, DC has Marvel beat. Marvel just outsells them because quantity.
Exactly.
And that's the thing there. But it's like,
but here's the big reason why. Marvel is arrogant.
Oh yeah,
because they're number one, and they are always consistently number one, no matter how much crap they put out.
Oh yeah, the Spider-Man people would like to talk about. Speaking of Spider-Man, so speaking of useless events, Dark Web. So I still don't know what the hell happened with Dark Web, nor do I really care, because it's like that's the occasion where it's an editorially mandated event where they're like, no, you have to do this event, and the writer's like, but that interferes with my story.
Just 1 second again. Sorry, I'm getting calls. Sorry.
It's all good. DC Absolute could threaten that. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like when you look at the minute the Absolute books start tying into the main book, in other words, crossing over, I think that's when DC like really takes Marvel's lunch. Because when you look at the sales and like the overall reception of the Absolute DC books, guess what that leads to? That leads to hype and word of mouth. And then hype and word of mouth leads to eventual sales. So that's the thing. DC is doing this. They are capitalizing on the popularity of the Absolute books, which is the smart thing that you actually have there. And by the way, Tevia asks about Gang War.
That's a crossover. Yeah, no, that was an event. Yeah,
exactly. But so okay, so Robert, for the purpose of discussion, explain Dark Web to people.
That was an event that everyone, if you ask anyone, you ask Zeb Wells, you ask Al Ewing, editorial forced it.
Yeah, I bet. And the Web of Shadows Spider-Man game could have been a good one. That's kind of King in Black, kind of the Web of Shadows game. It's a little. It's like
kind of sort of.
It's King in Black light. That's what it is. It's that light. But
right.
But still, it's like King in Black. I think is going to be remembered for like a while. But here's the thing. By remembered and not forgotten, I'm talking about the overall books, because obviously if you're reading Venom, they're gonna reference King in Black a lot.
But Dark Web was forced, and it derailed so much already.
And that's the thing when you look at
here's the thing. Yeah. For example, War of the Realms was clearly you had how long build up to this event. Like most of the run was building up to this.
Yeah.
And then Secret Empire. That's the other big thing is Marvel is better and DC is better at building up to events. Marvel is lousy at building up to events.
Yeah, it's like you find out an event's coming like 2 to 4 issues beforehand. I'm like, what?
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Cameron has House of M, I count. House of M is well executed, because you can argue they did build up to it, and it had lasting effect for so long. That works, Cameron. That works.
Yep. Now, Venom War is also that's King in Black done wrong.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Because the problem was, and it isn't just the fallout, it's the fact that it makes everything about Ewing's run pointless.
Yep, exactly.
All of it was about Eddie's the King in Black, and these other enemies he's dealing with, Bedlam and all that, are his future incarnations. But he lost being King in Black, undoing history. What was the point?
That's true. What was the point is what I wonder.
Exactly. Whereas at least King in Black, you can argue, had even more build-up.
Well, yeah, the entire Donny Cates on Venom run.
Since issue 1.
literally since issue 1, and even Carnage contributed to building up to absolute to like Null.
It was the Sinestro Corps War for the Blackest Night.
That's what it was. That's
Literally
exactly what it is. They basically
who was introduced after Sinestro Corps War? Red Lanterns.
Oh, okay, I like that. All right, they basically sort of messed up with Krakoa, but also changed it. Krakoa, I don't necessarily wait.
No, Krakoa. Whoa, what? Oh yeah, okay. So they basically messed it up with Krakoa, but also wait, I don't know what that part
means. In terms of House of M, he's saying that they messed up the effects of House of M with Krakoa.
Nah, to be fair, because all Krakoa did was brought back mutants that were already dead.
Yeah, that's what it did. I mean, that's
most of the people who lost their powers had regained them through one way, shape, or form eventually.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like it's but it's like.
Tevya, no, it's just editorial wanting an event and force you to do it. That's why I prefer editorial handling Thor.
Yeah, exactly. But by the way, would you count Hawks and Pox as an event for X-Men?
Yeah, crossover, not an event, because that was just within their own titles.
Oh, so it would be like
that would be what's considered the Batman. Yeah, that's what's considered the Bat Family crossover, where the books only affect.
I'm talking about the consequences. No remote. All that was undone even before Krakoa.
Most of that was, and even the Genosha massacre. I don't know if they brought back all the Genosha people. They did. That was clearly just kept down to a minimal like blip service.
Yeah, the point they may have referenced the thing, but
they might have said, "Oh yeah, they came back," but.
Or like, oh look, a lot of mutants died. They did that after like Scott and the team were air quote killed.
Yep. Now to be fair, a lot of Krakoa ended up being done to undo but Matthew Rosenberg trying to give a big screw you to Hickman before he got on board. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, Hickman got the short end. Here's an event, Secret Wars. That actually had a reason to tie it. Let me put it this way. If you're affecting literally the entire like universe, yeah, you could have a lot of tie-ins because that makes sense. And also
it's about to close the door on a lot of things.
And here's the thing. With Secret Wars, not all the tie-ins were like, what's Thor doing here? No, it was like, what's going on in Battle World? Like,
you had subdivision of tie-ins,
bro. The Civil War, like essentially, what if Civil War didn't stop?
The Battle World. That's the advantage of the Battle World.
Yeah, that was fan-freaking-tastic.
Basically, they were going to shut and initially they were shutting the door on what ifs.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about Fall of X and Rise of the Powers of X? A lot. Like put this way, the end of the Krakoa age is led to like a really. While I'm glad Krakoa is over, the X-Men books are boring as hell right now.
Yep, and it brings up, of course, like evil Captain America. You mean Secret Empire? First of all, that was horribly handled. Oh boy, that was a bloated one.
Oh yeah. Oh, you mean like that was the other one that had like a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah, but not just that. The event itself was meandering as all hell.
Plus the fact, what if?
Like, what was the point of Pimtron?
Yeah, it's like just to give them a Kazaku fragment and
to wag his finger at everyone.
Here's the thing: the effects were not held that much, except in Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America run, which was hot dog water.
Yeah, but no. Wasn't Coates' event? You still had Spencer working on it throughout that. It ended and led into Wade's run, which led into Coates' run.
Oh, okay.
It was Spencer's run.
Okay. Okay.
I'm looking at it right now. Here's, for example, from post, and they have it when it comes to DC's Wikipedia article, they separate by post major events.
Yeah.
Like, for example, post Dark Knight Death Metal, post Doomsday Clock and everything. You had, as far as the crossover event, Sink Atlantis. That was the Aquaman Suicide Squad. That was a crossover event, nothing more. Heroes in Crisis. The only adult tie-in that ever had was in Batman Flash.
Yeah.
Witching Hour. That was another crossover event. Drowned Earth, Justice League and Aquaman.
Yeah. But Cameron brings up Age of Ultron. Did that have any like real effect?
No. That the only thing that had any ramification of is he who shall not be named completely screwed up how Marvel does time travel.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, it was made clear time travel would just splinter off into another parallel universe. You could not alter the main universe. It took Hickman to fix it in Ultimates.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Grounders was all right.
Pretty good. And then movie theater says, well, we will see the also Marvel's first event, Ultimate Avengers Makers Return. Technically
DCKO is beating them to the punch.
Yeah, exactly. And it's here's the thing on KO. You know that's basically going to set up the crossover where the absolute, because I am fairly certain, based upon like what I'm seeing, that the event after KO is going to be in some shape or form Absolute meets the main DC universe.
Exactly.
In some shape, and they may fight, they may not, but the point is there will be a crossover, and Scott has said so himself.
Now, then you have the branded titles where it's not so much a crossover per se, but it affects the line temporarily. Year of the Villain.
Yeah, exactly.
That was not a crossover per se. And go on trying to figure out the chronology of that.
How about like Event Leviathan? Speaking of, he must not be named.
I don't know how to Yep, pretty much. City of Bane kind of counts.
That I would say was something there, yeah.
Yeah.
Say that. The wedding, even though they didn't do anything with it.
Did they list the wedding? No, they don't.
Oh, okay.
Because they had build up, but it was not an event because it was one issue.
Okay, that counts. That works. Okay.
Yep. Now they say that Generations thing, which was two, big books, that kind of counts.
I would say so as well.
Infinite Frontier was more of an initiative than it was a crossover.
Yeah, exactly.
Tevya, we just said You're the Villain earlier. And I said Al Ewing did.
Yeah, but
I did say it was Al Ewing who fixed it with Ultimates. I said that.
Yeah. But and that's the thing. It's like, now, Robert, let me ask you this. Let's say you're in charge of DC. First off, congratulations. Please hire me. Second off, how would you execute an event? What's the formula what's your personal formula to how to execute a great comic book event?
Depends on two things. Okay. Oh, by the way, you're right. He's right. He was correcting me. It was Al Ewing. I said Hickman. My mistake.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
My mistake there. Thank you for correcting me, Tevya. All right. But anyway, one of the two factors. One, how big do I want the event? Like, is it going to need proper build-up? And if so, do I need other events to lead up to it, like Absolute Power did?
Yeah.
If I don't need that, I would look at, first of all, who's it going to be focused on? Who is the center of the book? Which, give Marvel credit, they do that at least right. Giving like who's it focused on? Yeah,
I would say so.
For the most part, they get that right.
Mm-hmm.
They might bungle it still, but overall, but with but I will figure out who it's about, and then I figure out, is it going to be connecting to, like, try to work with whoever's writing it all. Okay, we got to lead up to this event. How long do you think that's going to take?
Mm-hmm.
Then I would look at what titles do we still have? Can we launch new titles out of this event? I'm thinking from a business point of view, not a creative point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to do both, obviously. But can we launch events out of it? What books? I would ask the writers then. Can you fit into it? If not, can you allow us to do a tie-in?
Mm-hmm.
I would do that. So basically what DC does.
Yeah, just do what DC does. And what you could do is like, you could ask the actual writer, hey, I'll tell you what, let us bring on one writer, bring in another writer to just write your character's tie-in for the thing if you don't want to write the tie-in.
Exactly. And I would say you get to decide. No, not you get to decide, but you give them where you're going so they can play off of it if they wish.
And you can like approve it, and so he doesn't contradict like any major points of the story that you're telling in the middle.
And if they're too busy, much like happened with Absolute Power, who else can do it?
Yeah, exactly.
And I would pick a writer who I know I can trust. Like again, Williams didn't have been building up to it, but Wade's the one who finished it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, I'll be honest. I've been liking DC's what's the word I'm looking for?
All in?
No. Well, I'm talking about what they have, how their method of doing it was the executive writer or whatever.
Oh, you mean
the showrunner method.
Essentially that. Yeah, me too. Because if you have one creative, like that's basically given the marching order saying, hey, here's what we're building toward. Please direct your stories in that direction. That leads to a consistent storyline. Marvel doesn't have that because everyone's going in all these different directions.
How many events get completely undone by the very next event?
Yeah, I know. So I'm like, why do I care if, what's going on in these?
Not that though, but Blood Hunt ending was it's out of the blue. Doom gets the power, the Sorcerer Supreme title by telling Strange, I can do it. I'm not giving it back. Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Where did Doom fit into the story?
Spoiler alert, he didn't.
And then all that was done to lead into One World Under Doom.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, it sold.
Yeah, that's the thing. It did sell, but again, Marvel like zombies, and they're like, "Oh, a new Marvel event."
Like I keep saying, buy Red, meaning Marvel, even if it's dead.
To quote the internet, whatever, talk about James Gunn's movies. We like slop.
Did you have to go there?
No, I had to.
I hate that phrase.
Yeah, I know. But that's essentially what it is. By the way, how about Brevoort basically raising AI art?
And basically saying, we're not avoiding it because of moral reasons. We're just avoiding it because we can't copyright it.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. That's really good to tell. And when you have actual artists saying,
this is very exclusive artists.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say Utopia had consequences. Kind of.
No. That was Dark Reign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That had the consequences.
Yeah, and Dark Reign spun out of an event, right?
Dark Reign spun out of Secret Invasion. Because
Dark Reign is not an event. I would count that
No, that's a branding. That's a branding.
Initiative like All In.
Yeah. Like All In or Avengers Initiative.
Yeah, exactly. It's essentially that. It's essentially that.
That's basically what's called the branding.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of like, because that's what connected between Secret Invasion and the next main event, which was Siege.
Well, even on that, let's talk about that era of Marvel real quick, Robert. What was the common factor of that era of Marvel? Why everything feels like it was telling one consistent story?
Because you actually had editors who were keeping it consistent, and
you had one writer telling a story throughout all of the other things, and said they essentially had the showrunner. He who must not be named was that.
I was about to say, can we really say the name once so we can give the man credit?
Fine.
Brian Michael Bendis, say what you will about the man.
At the time, he was good. And this is during his heyday at Marvel.
Oh yeah, because the fact that from Secret War, not Wars, War, to House of M, to Secret Invasion, and finally Siege, all done by him.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you had Age of Ultron, but again, that was so not a tie-in.
Yeah, but the point is, it's like the reason why he had so many hits after hits in that era is because
he had a vision.
Yeah, exactly. It was one. He
everything built up from the beginning of New Avengers because he had from the beginning of New Avengers with Spider-Woman, and he knew she was a Skrull.
Yeah, you even had Skrull shadows in the background as the Avengers Mansion blew up.
Exactly. Now, granted, a bunch of Skrulls were brought there because of Wanda's ability, power, but still.
Yeah, and
Oh,
yes, well, like I said, Ultimatum is still an event. It's a crappy event, but it's an event.
and it's an event that basically that should have ended with a reset button, was going to end with a reset button, then they decided, hey, let's for verification and not end with a reset button.
Yeah, which they should have done. I think because they're like, that will undo like even Ultimate Spider-Man that everyone loves. And I go, but yeah.
No. The reset button as in reset everything to before the event.
Oh, you mean essentially they would undo it later with?
Oh no, right at the very end. It was supposed to end at where people who died came back, and then they decided, no, let's keep them dead.
I think at that point they had decided we're just gonna give up on the Ultimate.
Why do you think and you were there when I went over it? I believe when in Ultimate Comics Avengers, you had Nick Fury. This is written by Mark Millar, who left after Ultimates 2. Said, "What the fuck? I've been gone for 15 minutes and everything went to hell."
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now,
yeah, exactly.
World War Hulk was also an event between Civil War and Secret Invasion, but it was and it had some importance, not as much though, unfortunately. That's the one downside. Some events that were important don't have much payoff beyond the title they're connected to.
Yeah, beyond like their
like the Hulk
character.
Yeah, exactly. Beyond the Hulk stuff, it was good to give people a chance to get see the Illuminati get beaten up.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you have stuff like Shadowland. Doesn't affect much beyond Daredevil. Fear itself, that was done purely because of Captain America and Thor coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it shows badly.
Yeah, exactly.
Is
that the one where he lifts the hammer, Cap?
No, that was Siege, I believe he lifted it. No, you're right. Fear itself. That's the one where he came back. That's the one where Bucky died.
Oh, yeah, and then he came back as the Winter Soldier later.
Yep. AVX, again, was the last true good event. I mean, okay, I take that. Secret Wars was the last best event.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because everything else, you had Civil War 2, you had Inhumans versus X-Men. Again, why were we supposed to side with the Inhumans? Why were we supposed to side with the Inhumans?
When you think about it, Robert, the Inhumans gassed everyone. Historically, that's not what the good guys do.
They also gaslit them too.
Yeah, historically, that's not what the good guys do.
Oh yeah, okay. He means Tevye bringing up it wasn't Hunger was the lead into it. Ultimate Cataclysm, where Galactus 616 Galactus showed up and attacked everything, and that's what led to the death of Ultimate Thor.
Oh really?
Because he knocked them into a void space.
And then I think he came back later.
Nope.
There was
his axe got out.
Are you sure? Because I have a comic called Ultimate New Avengers where he came back to life.
No. That was when he died during
Ultimatum.
Ultimatum.
Oh, okay.
Well, he went there and left and stayed in Valhalla so Cap could come back.
Oh, okay. I see.
So that's completely different. Ultimate Cataclysm was not that. Wasn't that when the show was coming out? Yeah. So they tried to make them
humans. Yeah, it was.
And you also had Ike Perlmutter, who was completely against anything that Fox owned.
Yeah, he was against anything they couldn't directly benefit from. Should the Ultimate Universe have only one Spider-Man? It did.
I think they did.
They did. Peter died, and then Miles took over.
And that's what you're talking about now, but that's his son. I don't count that.
And his son's obviously Venom.
Yep, but
which what a great reveal, by the way.
Yep. But again, here's some other crossover. Heroes Reborn, self-contained.
Right here.
Self-contained event.
Look at how thin this omnibus is.
I think that's even thinner than my Absolute Carnage.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't have that much stuff. All it has is the main series and then those little tie-in like one-shots that were like for each like what if Gwen Stacy was Batgirl essentially.
Yep. By the way, I hate to bring it up, but when we talk about Inhumans versus X-Men, I got to bring up the quote that Charles Soule said.
What quote?
The X-Men and the stuff about it, the X-Men being affected by the gas, which we know kills them, it's comparable to a peanut allergy.
Did he really say that?
He really did. He really did compare something that was killing the mutants to a peanut allergy.
So them being gas is like a peanut allergy.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Brett, and
if
here's
you're watching this, Brett, if you're watching this is why Marvel sucks.
Unfortunately, and they do not bring out the best in Sewell.
Oh, and Cameron brings up a good event, Blackest Night for DC. Because again, it makes sense that everyone, even though it's a Green Lantern event, it makes sense that everyone ties into it because it involved death and rebirth, and everyone in the DC universe has died.
Exactly. And even then, if they did it, it led into miniseries, tie-in minis.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that being the tie-in because again, realistically they would. Final Crisis. See, here's the thing about Final Crisis. Most of the tie-ins are just the build-up to Final Crisis. That's the weird part. And I'm like, what? It's like I'm reading a story where like the Titans are in some gladiator fight pit, and I'm like, when is Darkseid gonna show up?
Exactly.
And then Tevia says, in the 90s Onslaught event, if that was an event, that was bad.
No. Okay. Onslaught was meant to be an X-Men event. Then they were going to do Heroes Reborn, so they needed an excuse to kill them off, and they realized how powerful they made Onslaught, so they used it as a chance to do that.
The movie theater brings up a good point. Final Crisis was not the Final Crisis. I think Grant intended it to be that.
Yep.
It's like here's another one. Dark Crisis, a really relatively small. That's the thing about DC. DC has a lot more self-control than Marvel because look at how small Dark Crisis was.
Oh yeah, definitely very small.
Itself, in terms of
by that point, it's when that started up the tie-in anthology books.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, technically, Death Metal started that.
Yeah, Infinite Crisis had more impact.
But Final Crisis was never meant to be a main event. And it shows. How many of those tie-in things actually had nothing to do with Final Crisis? Did Rage of the Red Lanterns have anything to do with it? No. Did Legion of Three Worlds do? Barely.
And remember, what was an event that set up Final Crisis?
Countdown.
Amazon's Attack.
Oh, no. Technically, that was part of Countdown, but did it really amount to anything for Final Crisis? No.
No. Even though realistically it should because it involved Granny Goodness. But
it didn't. All it did was just be a small stepstone.
Yeah, a small... No, it's a small poop stain on the street is what Amazon's Attack is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's like... that's the thing. And ultimately, unless Marvel gets his act together, which, again, unless Marvel significantly drops in their market share, they're not going to do anything because it's like they're too comfortable. What's up, Robert?
By the way, something else going back to Inhumans versus X-Men, the Death of X story. Now, here's the thing. Up until this mini, they were hyping up that basically Cyclops is something so horrible, so despicable, that is the equivalent of him being like the next Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? And Charles Soule wrote this. You know what it ended up being? He ended up altering some of the gas to be not affecting mutants.
That's it?
That was it.
That's something that anyone would do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. It said on TV tropes, inform wrongness. Apparently stopping the Terrigen cloud without asking for permission first makes Cyclops history's greatest monster. And apparently, Sewell and Jeff Lemire both felt fans who actually felt Scott and Emma were in the wrong. They openly felt that.
They really did a number on Scott Summers in that era of Marvel.
And Emma too.
Because they made it where if They basically indicated that like being with Emma is the reason why he went so bad. And I go, oh, screw you, Marvel.
And again, the whole fact that we're supposed to side with the Inhumans and the X-Men are just overreacting. They're getting killed.
Yeah, excuse me if like they're being genocided, they overreact by like.
You want to know how bad this did to the Inhumans? What? Think about this. When was the last time we ever saw them? Death of the Inhumans.
I know, right? I was about to say that.
That was how long ago?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking that up.
It's like 2019, I think, is when
18.
And Cates wrote it.
That was
nearly 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's like
and see about that. And see what they've barely appeared since. Not that they were all killed off, obviously.
You know, the royal family have survived, but I'm like, yeah, that's a good question. Where are the Inhumans?
They do exist. They're just barely because they were that toxic.
Yeah.
No one wants to handle them.
Because
thanks, Lemire and Zool. Thanks, Marvel.
Because here's why. As soon as the comic book audience got on to what the reason why Marvel was pushing the Inhumans, they became the anti-X-Men. So now that Marvel can like make X-Men movies and such, and is pushing the X-Men,
and here's the other thing.
Like, screw you guys.
You got two characters that technically represent Inhumans. Well, one until until recently, Moon Girl and Kamala.
Moon Girl
until they made Kamala a mutant. Moon Girl is an Inhuman. She got affected by the Terrigen Mist.
I didn't know that. Wow.
That's how she got her powers.
That's how she got super intelligent?
Yep.
So she breathed in puberty gas and all of a sudden became super
went into
smart.
a cocoon and everything. Yes.
Oh, okay. But
the fact that they also insulted fans and everything about that. It's just like, really?
You really want it, so essentially what you're telling me is that the Inhumans were the Paul of their time.
Pretty much.
It's kind of that, which is sad because the Inhumans are actually a really cool cast of characters. But it's like, no, by the way, here's an event that we forgot about, as did everyone at Marvel. AXE. Avengers X-Men Eternals.
You mean Judgment Day?
Yeah.
I only remember that for the Spider-Man tie-in because you have Gwen actually talking to Peter and calling him out.
I only remember that the name of the event. I don't remember anything about what happened.
That was, I think, Lemire wrapping up his. That was more done for his Eternals.
Yeah, because
that was actually a great run.
Mm-hmm. I heard it is.
So that was more wrapping up his Eternals more than anything else. So yeah, that wasn't a bad event.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty good. I'll give you that.
But hold on, I'm looking at what else. Technically you have Death and Return of Wolverine. Those count.
That's an event?
Yeah, tie-ins.
Oh, okay, that works.
And how long was Wolverine?
Wait, I got one.
For?
Infinity Wars.
Yeah, that does count. That actually does count.
It's an event. It's a bland event, but it's an event.
Yep, it's a bland, definitely bland. Oh, hell yes, it's a bland. And the only thing good about that was Infinity Warps.
Yeah, but you knew that was just a poor man's like amalgam.
Exactly. It's internal amalgam, but yeah, you also had there was Black Vortex, that was huge. I'll bet the Hugh should not be named, doing Guardians and X-Men, and that's where it was trying to continue pushing the Star-Lord Kitty pairing.
Mm-hmm.
Weapons of Mass Destruction. There's a Weapon X up where they actually make a combination of Hulk and Wolverine in one being.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kidding on that one.
My favorite part of Infinity Warps is when it's Emma and Wolverine merge, and then they separate, and then Emma's like, I have no words. I love that. See, if Emma's written well, she is the sassiest thing ever.
Yep. Now here's another forgettable event. It's only good. Remember one thing: Iron Man 2020, and I mean the event, not the actual character.
The only thing people remember of that is that they made a documentary about it where they basically said Stan Slott can't keep a schedule,
and they actually gave Tony a body again after losing it during Civil War II.
That's it. Because where is Arno?
Aren't the fact that also that was playing off of the retcon that turns out Tony is adopted and Arno is the actual Stark son.
Did they ever retcon that back?
He's still adopted.
This is so stupid. Why would you change that?
Now, Reckoning War kind of counts. That was mostly a Fantastic Four with a few specials and everything.
Yeah. Oh, what was that event with the tree people that brought back
Empire
Yeah,
with a
Empire.
Y.
Yeah.
And in fact, they actually had to do something because there was one thing that was going to happen there, and then Kate said, guys, that's taken from my thing. Cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because they actually tied back into King in Black.
Oh, really?
And they had to do a one-shot that bridged between Empire and King in Black.
Mm-hmm.
But still, though, but again, back to DC, though. Again, DC, yes, you've had some clunkers, like Trials of the Amazon. Boring!
Or Gotham War.
Gotham War and War for Earth 3. Shadow War was fun.
Yeah, that was okay.
Wrecking War, that story was technically a event. Okay, Wrecking War, like I said, Debbie, was a Fantastic Four story with some tie-ins.
Mm-hmm.
But Flash 1 Minute War. That's only an event because it had a special.
Yeah, exactly.
Beast World. Okay, let's put it this way: Lazarus Planet and Beast World, the two events that more had tie-in anthology books.
Yeah.
That was the better
Here's
thing.
a book that they wanted to be an event, but it ended up not being an event. Doomsday Clock.
Unfortunately,
you could tell because Rebirth was building to it, and then they're like, "Just kidding."
Yep, and NJ, we mentioned that's Night Terrors.
Yeah, Night Terrors was like, it's like again because it just killed all the momentum from the great books.
Exactly. But again, feels like it. Flashpoint pretty much their House of M.
Yeah, and here's the thing about Flashpoint again. That made sense. It could have a lot of tie-ins, but here's the interesting thing about those tie-ins. They're technically not tie-ins because it wasn't like Superman, Wonder Woman. All those books were invented just for the event.
And so then that way they let the regular stories wrap up.
Yeah, exactly. They used that time.
Night of the Owls, yes, that is an event.
Yeah, it was. That
was an event, but that was one of those events that worked parallel with it because Snyder was like, I ain't telling them what to do, just what not to do.
Yes, exactly.
Brightest Day is more thematic overall.
But it's still an event because I have an entire trade that's all the tie-ins.
That's true.
But it's like Brightest Day. What a downgrade compared to like Blackest Night, man.
Yep, Robin Ward, that is an event.
No Man's Land, I would say so.
Yeah, that's a mega crossover event. But yes.
Yeah, it is.
Basically, from the looks of it here, they do count anything that goes across multiple. But Night of the Monster Men.
Is DOS on there?
DOS.
Death of Superman.
I think so because that would have the Justice League tie-in.
Yeah, it had like a ridiculous amount of books.
Death of Superman. They even count the Trinity that was a crossover of Green Lantern Corps, Legion, and Dark Stars. Nightfall counts.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodlines. That was the annuals events.
Yeah,
those.
Yeah,
the annuals events where things Eclipse
Armageddon 2001.
Eclipso, the Darkness Within.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, so the point is like DC has the better track record, and it really shows in terms of like their sales and like their
remembrance.
Yeah, it's like while DC doesn't have the largest market share, that's still Marvel. They've done with what they can, and ultimately they will have the more memorable stories. They won in the long term, I will say. In other words, they may have lost the battle, but they won the war, in my opinion.
Yeah, and because here's another thing. A lot of these Marvel events tie too much into their specific characters.
Yeah, and that's why it's like the events that should tie into to like a lot of books don't, and the ones that don't do. So it's like
like for example, the we showed off. Absolute Carnage and King in Black are too much tied into Venom, Cage's Venom run. Heroes Reborn.
Mhm.
I hate to say it, but that ties in too much into Aaron's run.
Yeah, exactly.
Devil's Reign. That tied into Daredevil.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like overall, it's like, now let me ask you this before we wrap up, Robert. What's your favorite DC event and what's your favorite Marvel event?
Favorite DC. Favorite Marvel event, I'm more likely to give that to Civil War.
Yeah, me too. Because that one had like
that was just the best overall.
10 years.
I had so much problems with it, but it best over. No, I take back. World War Hulk.
I
the catharsis value. The catharsis value alone.
You're the Hulk fan. I knew it.
Yep. But as far as DC, there's too many. Too many, dude.
If there's a Marvel, my favorite is probably Siege of Asgard. I love that.
Siege,
that's a badass event.
And He Who Shall Not Be Named is probably one of his better events because it was so short.
Yeah, it was that because I have.
And technically, Loki is still dead. That version of Loki is still dead.
Yeah. So
the original from Avengers #1 is still dead.
So this was the first Marvel graphic novel I ever bought. It has all of the like tie-ins as well. It's got Siege the Cabal, Siege Prologue, Siege 1 to 4, New Avengers 61 64, New Avengers Finale, Dark Avengers 13 to 16, and materials from the director's cut. So this has like all the
one thing that I do not like about that thing is they basically say the Superhero Registration Act was just thrown out. You do not throw out a
That's not how that works.
Big.
That's not how that works.
And tell you the Loki we have now is a reincarnation, but is nothing like the original.
Yeah, he's not. That one still died. He's still dead.
Yep. Yeah. So basically the original from one. But anyway, but for DC, what's yours?
Oh, God. Dark Side War.
Dark Side War. Yeah,
that
counts. That counts.
That definitely got, it even has its own omnibus.
Yep. And it had tie-ins. Infinite Crisis.
Infinite is my favorite Crisis. If we're talking about my favorite Crisis, it's Infinite.
Yeah, for me, favorite event overall because you had. I was there from the ground up. And that was the first event I bought. And it led into me buying 52 afterwards. Basically, the build-up, the execution, and the fallout were the best they've ever done. I can't think of any event that ever got topped.
NJ's favorite is Witching Hour.
Oh, not surprised. Not surprised.
Yeah. And then NJ says, Trial of the Amazons was so pointless. Sure, it finally did unite the Amazon tribes, but not much. It also killed for Hippolyta. Yeah, I'll give you that.
They needed something drastic. They needed something drastic.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
We mentioned Armageddon.
Briefly. You probably said it so briefly, he missed it. So
we mentioned it. Dark Knight Metal. I would have thought it would be Convergence, Tevye, because I invented John.
Probably because that kept fell more into the tie-in than the main Vinny.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Wasn't the original more malicious than the current? Wait, which one?
What do you mean, movie theater?
Yeah, which original is more malicious than the current?
Oh, Soft Loki versus Thriller.
Oh! Is the current one more? Well, he's starting to become more malicious again, thanks to Ewing, who he's starting to remember his old ways.
We will use the old ways.
So he's more starting to being a villain again.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I called it.
Yeah. That's
what a lot of people say. They prefer the. Yeah.
I can respect that. But yeah, so I think it's a good place to leave it. So drop down below in the comments your favorite events. All you watching this on the replay. Oh, wait. Tower of Babel.
Nope.
That's a storyline.
That's a storyline, pure storyline.
Did Tower of Babel lead into the whole Batman having contingency plans? That was where it was essentially retcon that he had contingency plans. That's when it was introduced. It was a follow. The reasoning was from a Justice storyline called Silver Age, but which was an event. As far as we know, the contingency plans were not a thing until Tower of Babel.
Exactly, and to be fair. Silver Age, you kind of needed it because that's when some of the villains actually took over some of the heroes.
Yeah, exactly. So Robert, where can one find you and what have you got coming on your channel?
Everything down below. Links down below. I'm counting down to next week for my 600th where I'll be covering Watchmen.
Hell yeah, the classic. As for me, so obviously CLD tomorrow at 6 p.m. And then Saturday for the movie night, we're talking about the first Suicide Squad movie, the extended cut if you can, but if you can't,
Yep, I've got it.
But and then Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I are gonna be talking about which female characters are Wonder Woman's world's finest. And to shout out to NJ for suggesting the topic. As for Amazon Answers, I'm going to be discussing the sensational comics featuring Wonder Woman anthology book that was out a while back. That was a trade. And yeah, that's what I got right now. Stay heroic, everyone. Remember, DC is better than Marvel. Suck it, zombies.